I want to invite up to the platform the representative of the MD of ETech, Mr. Wale Adekola. Adekunle, yes. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Slide, please. While we wait for my slides to come up, good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adewale Adekunle. I'm from ETech Complete Solutions Limited. I'm the COO and the country manager for ICDL. Today, I'll be speaking on a very pivotal and increasingly important topic, developing and implementing the digital literacy program for staff and students. This topic is really important in shaping and transforming our higher learning institutions. At ETech Complete Solutions Limited, we have a couple of offerings, which ICDL is one of it. And I believe most people here have already heard about ICDL, and we're already in most of the schools here in Nigeria. But just a brief recap, we are the local operating partner of ICDL in Nigeria. Most important things that have to do with ICDL gets done by ETech Complete Solutions Limited. So I will not waste too much time on that. I will focus solely on the topic of my presentation, and I'll move on. So my presentation today basically is going to share insights on the following: the importance of digital literacy, how to develop a structured program, the implementation framework. Then we're going to take one or two lessons from TED Fund's intervention. Then we talk about how to sustain and measure impact. And we close and we reflect together. And probably take some questions if there are any. So, firstly, this has become a very important thing to me. I learned this a very long time ago. I think it was in my primary school, the later type of primary school. It was one of my very important teachers who I'm not going to mention today, but I hold very dearly. She told me whatever you want to do, you always have to define. So today, for the purpose of this workshop, I'm going to adopt UNESCO's definition of digital literacy. It is there on the slides. I'm not going to read it. But more importantly, digital literacy encompasses more than the usage of a computer. It deals with more abilities and some other things in using digital device. And there is always this fallacy about perception versus reality. People often think because they can do one or two things with a computer, they can use WhatsApp, do TikTok and do other things like that, and then automatically they are digitally literate. But the truth of the matter is, when you put them to test and you do the diagnostics, you see that the reverse is always the case. So digital literacy is really important and is a key concept that will keep evolving and we'll keep talking now and forever. Because as we talk about new technologies, new emerging technologies, and what I've been spoken about here today, the cloud deployment, the AIs, data analytics and all, digital literacy is the mother of all. You cannot go to a university without having a strong and very grounded foundation from the basic school up to the secondary school and all like that. And from what has been discussed here today, you see that it all boils down to the usage of this system. How do you use something you don't even have any idea about? That is basically what digital literacy teaches. Yeah, so why does digital literacy matter? And I'm going to really restrict this to the tertiary institutions and primary students. Now, we are in an era, long ago, or few years ago, they used to say we'll get there, but we are there already. We are in an era where teaching, learning, research, management are continuously being digitized. The capacity of our institutions now, meaning the students and staff, faculty, is going to be largely dependent on digital competence. So there is no how we can get the best out of our lecturers and our students without having our lecturers and our students without having them digitally literate. And one more important key concept here is that these students that we might tend to see as students, and probably kids and young ones, they know probably more than what you think they know. I've seen a lot of concerns being raised here about how AI is being used for plagiarism and all that. See, AI is here. It's not going anywhere. It will get stronger, it will get better. We only have to learn to live with it. We have to learn to navigate it. These students already know how to use these resources. This is why digital literacy matters. I didn't read the definition of digital literacy there because I saw it. I mean, it was actually there on the board. But some important key concept in that definition is safety. Safety. How to use these digital tools safely and ethically. Most of these students just stumble on some of these skills, probably on the streets or from some content online or something. They just pick some skills and are not even able to use it properly. This is why digital literacy matters in our schools. If these students are actually being tutored on how to use these skills and these tools properly, they will turn out a whole lot of positive results that will amaze all of us. Now, like I've said, our future and the effectiveness of our teaching, non-teaching staff, our students, and the community at large will depend largely on how digitally competent we are. We see what advanced countries like China, and I like to mention China and India when it comes to IT and all that. We see what they do. We see what these little kids do. They are actually taught digital literacy as long as I want to say even while they're still in the womb. Because you can imagine sometimes when I go through TikToks, I'm sorry, I have to talk about this. This is like a reality because we're talking about digital literacy. When I scroll through TikToks, Nigerian part of TikToks, what I see is just dancing, it's just comedy and all. But when you go to Asia TikTok, when you see what little kids are doing, you wonder who taught this kid how to do this. This is because they know about digital literacy. This is because they see it as very important. They've actually taught them right from, I actually want to say from the womb. But I feel maybe the mother will say, when you come out, don't be naughty. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And those kids actually listen to it. So it is very, very important for us to do digital literacy and for us to see it more than just a project, for us to see it as something that has to be inculcated in our everyday life. Now, there are drivers to digital literacy, obviously. The number one to me is the emerging technologies, like the AIs, like the data analytics. AI specifically is actually a driver to digital literacy. No matter who you are, even if you live under the rock, you must have heard about AI. You want to learn about it. What is this thing talking about? They're talking about ChatGPT. What is it? They're talking about Siri. How is it? You are forced to learn about it. Those are drivers that actually drive digital literacy. You want to learn about them. And then we have regulatory bodies like the UN. In Nigeria, you have the NIDA and NUC and the rest like that. And we have also the ICD of Nigeria. We also drivers to digital literacy. So, in building a digital literacy curriculum or in implementing it, there are things we need to first ask ourselves. The number one, we need to do an institutional introspection. You need to ask ourselves, like in my institutions, how ready are we for digital literacy? How digitally ready are we? Then you have to conduct a digital literacy skills assessment. in ICDL, we have what we call diagnostic tests, and this is what we actually do with most of our clients. If you consult us to come and train your staff, or what we do usually is to come with the diagnostics. We diagnose them and we're able to see, okay, this is the area where so person is deficient, and then we can tailor the training towards that. So this is something that should be done while talking about developing digital literacy content. You have to conduct a skills assessment for staff and students. It does not have to be a one-size-fits-all. I'm going to speak more on that in my subsequent slides. I'm really checking the time. I don't want to go beyond that. Now, once that is done, we also have to set clear objectives. You have to, I think, there have to be compliance. There have to be people responsible for what and what. And then again, you have to align academic goals to quality assurance standard and secure institutional leadership and buy-in. Now, we know this is good. We know we're going somewhere with this, but we also have to get the buy-in of the leadership of our institutions. We need to get the buy-in of the management. That will give you momentum. That will make it lasting. Even when one administration goes, leaves the office, it goes into, okay, yeah. When administration leaves, the drive continues. Now, while designing a program, a digital literacy program, like I said, it shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all. It shouldn't be, you cannot say, train everybody on a certain module. There has to be skills assessment. And once that is done, the minimum thing that can be done is you can tear this into the foundational skills, the role-based skills, the student pathway. Foundational skills you have to do with everybody. It can even be with the non-academics now, and probably the lower cadre, just to give them the baseline skills that are necessary to sell. Then the role base now has to do with giving academics, the librarian, and everybody the right tool and the right training that will make them to excel in their line of duty. The student pathway definitely has to be curriculum and modules that will align with employability and entrepreneurship. Now, also, we talk about the pedagogical integration, which has to do with blending it into the academic curriculum. I think someone also mentioned this yesterday and even today. This is important. This is where we're going. We've gone beyond the era where you just have to come and just say, okay, I have a BSc in whatever, or I have an HND in whatever, and that is it. You have to come up with something better. You have to come up with, now, our kids are competing globally. Either we like it or not, either we accept it or not. Our children, our students are competing globally. And even locally in Nigeria here, you have to be able to have more than BS. You have to be able to have more than HND. It has to do with skills now. It has to do with what can you do with your brain and your hand. It doesn't have to do with your BSc and whatever. And gone are those areas where you say, okay, because you want to learn the skill, you go and learn barbing, or go and learn how to do tiling or something. I'm not saying those things are not good. They are very, very noble profession. They are very, very wonderful, and we need them in the society. But what I'm saying is, beyond that, we need our kids to be, we need everybody to be digitally literate. We need everybody to be digitally literate in the sense that put this thing in the school's curriculum. Let them know that at some certain level, they have to take certain courses or certain modules of a well-recognized and standardized digital literacy platform. That will go a long way in putting this all together. Then, finally, there should be certification and recognition. Yeah, this has to do with, now, you can't come and tell me that you have certain skills. I will definitely need something for you to validate it. You have to tell me that you have certain skills, but at the same time you have to validate and say, okay, I've been certified by so person. That will encourage me to say, okay, let me see what you can do. But without the certification, and you're using mouth to tell me that you also have a certain skill, I will not take you seriously. That is why certification and recognition is also important. And when we're talking about certification and recognition, we have to go for the best. We have to go for a platform that has a global acceptance. We have to go for a platform that has the competence, that has done this over and over with our institutions. Yeah. The implementing framework, I think I'm going to skip this and then go to the next one. It's more important. I have just 4 minutes to go. I've spoken about most of this in the previous slide, so I don't want to repeat it. But most importantly, what I would like to highlight here is the planning, the first phase and the last one. The first one has to do with planning with the stakeholders and having the stakeholders engagement. And that is what I'm also going to speak about in my I think it's the next slide also. Now, in planning for digital literacy inclusion or roadmap, the stakeholders are really important. We at ETEC, at ICDL, we have actually learned this. Like I said, we are the local operating partner of ICDL in Nigeria. We have projects currently running with tertiary institutions. We have actually learned this, and we know that without the stakeholders, like the DICTs, most to be specific, there is no project that can actually sell. If you want a project to actually meet its target and for it to hit the right goal, it has to have the DICTs buy-in. So definitely when you are planning this, the DICT, you have to be on the table with them and say, okay, this is the curriculum, how do you see this play out in your schools? And they are the ones that are going to tell you how to go about it. And also the last phase has to also do with them. You have to leverage their experience. You have to leverage on how they've done things in the past. I just wanted to highlight that before I move to the... Yeah, so definitely, once you've implemented, you have to measure success, because what gets measured gets improved. You have to be able to go back and say, okay, fine, we have implemented digital literacy. How many people did we train? What is the what is the result from that? Has it actually improved the teaching of our teaching staff, or has it actually improved the learning outcome from the students? Even the non-academic staff, has it improved the way they do their works? And again, has it also reduced the number of times that people request for support? Because most of the things that people actually seek support for are things that are very basic, that they can actually do on their own, and without that knowledge, they cannot move forward. So if they can't move forward, they will tell the support team to actually come to them and assist them. But if there's a digital literacy that has been program that has been put in place, you have to be able to measure it and say, okay, last month before we did this training, we had maybe 100 tickets coming from support, but now that we've done this, it has reduced to so far. So that's how you measure the success. Now, the challenges in implementing digital literacy are numerous. I've only highlighted just a few, and the number one, and I think the most important, is the resistance to change. Right? People are always they always want to do things the way they've done it in the past, irrespective of where the world is going. There's always a resistance when you're trying to bring new something on board. But definitely, you can always mitigate this by creating awareness and by incentivizing search. Just like I said, you have to get the buy-in of the stakeholders. You have to get the buy-in of people that matters in that place. Incentivize it, and then you can do role modeling by doing a pilot by probably a faculty or an institution, and from there you can scale up. There's always a resource constraint as well. Resource is not always available, it's not always enough to do anything. But definitely you can leverage your partnership with us, and you can also use open source tools for that. And you can also surfacing, like you can do for a department and then move on to the next one. Also, there are always still disparity. The level of competence is always different from one person to the other. There has to be tiered learning from one person to the other. You don't have to do a one-size-fits-all for anybody. Yeah, and for sustainability of it, because this is also a very important challenge. I heard yesterday also when one of our directors there mentioned that there's always a challenge when there is a transition. The former director probably did not do a proper handover to them, and then they are lost on what has been done. And so this has to be an institutional policy. Like, this is where we're going, and we have a roadmap. Even if you're coming today, you already know, okay, this is where we are, and this is what we want to do. So you have to institutionalize the digital literacy program that you've already adopted. In Building for the Future, you have to do all this. I've mentioned institutional strategic plans, the quality assurance framework, staff performance approval. Yes, we've also noticed that you have to always attach these things to an end goal. You have to be able to tell the staff that, okay, this is going to go into your CPD. You have to be able to tell the student that you have to be able to get credentials before you're able to graduate. These are things that will make it sustainable and not just a Can I round up by touching on
You will address some things in the Q&A.
okay. All right.
Your last statement?
Okay. So I would like to thank you all for giving me your rapt attention and your commitment towards this digital literacy goal. I also like to tell you that my colleagues and I are here and we're willing to take this further. Our booth is also somewhere in that space there. You can reach out to us and then we can take this conversation further. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause.